the way Tinubu is planning the next election, he'll make it look as if it's credible. That is what they mean by saying the loser will congratulate the winner. Because they have done their homework, and you find it flawless if you are not discerning. You know, Malami, Amaechi, and they're not credible people. And they're not in the opposition. They're not opposed to anything. Maybe some of them are hungry and they need accommodation to find food, because Amaechi said that much. Like, I've said it publicly. If I'm president of Nigeria, I'll need a laptop and good internet, and we are good to go. Ethnic tone are things that people use to divide the country. People don't understand that Nigerian leaders like it when there's less territory to govern. They have not constantly said the Igbos have been unfairly treated in Nigeria, yes. So part of the biggest problem of the judiciary is that it is under complete control of people it's supposed to be checking. The IMF is what I call the international monetary fraud. I've always imposed policies that is not meant for us to destroy our country. They're the one who destroy our industries.
Welcome to the Platinum exclusive right here on TV Platinum. I am Oluwatobi Eniton. Today we have here in our studio a human rights activist, a journalist, a politician, a man of many feathers who is bold and daring and has been at the front burner of Nigeria's political discourse and events as they unfold. He is no other than Mr. Omoyele Sowore, the 2023 presidential candidate of the AAC. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell us, you've been arrested and detained severally by the Nigerian government. And why is it that you still haven't given up?
Well, I wasn't built to give up. I have been against the Nigerian state for a long time. I have become used to all their antics, and just generally, when you have conviction, the last thing that happens to you is give up, because as you would understand that you have a goal, you have a force behind your thoughts, processes, your actions, of which giving up is not one of them. Because you can't fight a battle in which you want to achieve victory and you think about giving up. It's counterintuitive. Yeah.
So when you look back at your journey from Sahara Reporters when you started to your call, the Revolution Now protest that led to your arrest at the time, do you feel that this has actually given you that much needed result or desired results as the case is?
It depends on what kind of result each of these fights or battles are for. That sometimes a battle is for a short-term result or goal, some medium term, but the long-term permanent goal is to achieve success in the area of a revolutionary dimension, and in which every set goal that I have put myself to, even ever before Sahara Reporters, because I started as a university student, has achieved. And one of it is to be able to help achieve an egalitarian society where nobody is maltreated, where nobody is deprived of their fundamental rights or their dignity, where people are not tortured, where people are not discriminated against because of their ethnicity or religion, where workers get paid and a living wage. So I'm just breaking it down for those who are probably somehow tired of the ideological explanation all the time. And these are simple, basic things that is driving my struggle for the revolution in Nigeria. And I believe that without revolution, those things are not achievable, at least as soon and as swiftly as we should.
So many Nigerians see you as radical, some say controversial, some say troublemaker. Now, who is the real Sowore beyond the slogans?
I think the Sowore that I am is the person everybody see me as. So to some people, I'm a troublemaker. To some people, I'm radical. To some people, they see me a different way. But what I see myself as is somebody who really is willing to give it all to get the desired result for people who are oppressed, people who are seeking for succor, and a citizenry that we can help achieve real happiness.
Okay, now let's go into the government of the day. What would you say is your honest assessment of the administration of today?
You don't have to be honest about it, but the basic assessment is that the government is a failed government. It's a government that has the results are there, the symptoms are there, and that is that there's more poverty, there's unemployment, there's not real achievements in any of the areas that the government claim they want to come and fix. You still don't have an inflation that they could control. They removed fuel prices at the beginning of the regime and said they will bring about Electoral. Look at where we are. Electricity is still not available. The healthcare system is so broken that even when they have a headache, they go to the UK to go and take care of France or America. So I don't need to tell you anything. You can see for yourself. You're a journalist yourself. You go out there, you see mass poverty and mass misery. That is what the government is.
Okay, now your call for revolution. Do you think Nigerians are really ready for a revolution with the situation of things? And
the person that needs to be ready first and foremost is myself, and then I'll mobilize everybody to join me. And that is a battle itself, to get people conscientized, educated, and mobilized to make the revolution happen. But I'm the one who called for it. I have to bear majority of responsibility to make sure that people join in that call. And so it's not easy to move people from a state of lethargy into a state of relentless activism or activity in such a way that we can achieve what we were talking about.
Now, you once said that young people should, or several times say young people should take back the country. What do you think is like a stumbling block to this, where the youths are probably laid back, or is it just the system itself?
Social media. Well, it's just one of it. There's a way you consume anything that's too much, that instead of taking physical action, you rely on non-physical, non-kinetic interventions. So I think it's beyond social media. I think over time, poverty has been a major cause. The level of education or the quality of education we're getting is not the type that can help people process quickly what needs to be done. You notice that societies that are able to respond swiftly and accurately to threats to their own existence are societies that have better educated people. You have a society where people are not that educated, and because part of how they fight against a progressive society is to make sure you don't educate people. They have a better chance at responding and solving their problems than the ones that are not. Then you have poverty, mass poverty. But I think also there are other factors that maybe there's too much distractions, and that's why I mentioned social media sometimes. It's like sometimes you wonder what is going on with the younger population, where you have problem of mass unemployment, of hunger, starvation, homelessness, and your priority is, which cell phone is coming out next week, or which team is going to win the Premier League, or who is winning on maybe Nigeria. So that's, of course, is a symptom of what I described earlier. But sometimes you wish that those distractions are not there, or that they can tell between what is substance and what is lack of substance or distraction.
In recent times, you've been at loggerheads with the police, and this has even resulted in the court case. Okay, run us through that and what you believe should serve to the police and the justice system as it's at the moment.
Well, it's very interesting. You said, you have a problem with the police, but you also forgot that I was also fighting for the same police the same week that they injured my hand. I think when you talk about institutions that are necessary for security, the one that has the biggest population is the police in Nigeria. And my problem started with police a long time ago. It started when we were in the university. They'll come and beat us up, they'll torture us, they'll tear gas. Police once shot a guy beside me, and the bullet almost got to his spine. He almost died. And I was the target. I was the one they wanted to shoot, but I was lucky. So I've never been friends with police, and over time it just got worse. But you can't solve the Nigeria police problem without solving its leadership problem. That's why recently I focused on legitimate leadership for the police, because if you do have legitimate leadership for the police, you will help reorientate the police. That's why I also got involved with fighting for police welfare and well-being for both who are retired and serving, because if someone is serving in the police and he looks at the retired police person and he's in shambles, he's likely not to pay attention to his job. He'll focus on how to get his gratuity and pension before retirement, and that's where corruption comes from. So, but I know I have dissected these problems, and you see that's why you see my intervention from time to time. I've targeted what could bring about lasting solution to policing. And I know one of it is their well-being. I also know that leadership is key. And when you have a guy who is not in the police force anymore as the IG of police, what message are you sending to those who are in the police force?
Okay, the Egbetogun-led police force, as we have it, is still not happy with the fact that you have labelled him an illegal IGP.
Yes.
And that has resulted in a court case that is still ongoing. Do you think that phrase, as it is legal from your own perspective?
We're in court to determine the legality of the phrase.
Or how would you feel you have been called an illegal?
Anybody can come whatever they want. It doesn't matter. It's freedom of expression.
What's your idea of freedom of expression?
It's the freedom to freely express yourself about all issues that affects your well-being, and it is guaranteed by international instruments. You heard about Article 19, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, an African Charter. The Nigerian Constitution says you can freely express yourself. And now,
the place of defamation in this?
Defamation is civil. As a civil, if someone expresses himself against you, and you feel like the person says something that injures your reputation, you can go to court to seek redress. But it's civil litigation. You cannot go and ask the police to arrest somebody because they said something you don't like. No, that's unacceptable. That's repression. That's tyranny. So when they do that, I say to them, no, I don't accept you going to court to stop me from saying. So I'm for freedom of expression and freedom after expression, and that's even more important than the freedom of expression. So what they are practicing is they will allow you to express yourself, but they don't want you to be free after you express yourself, so that you will not have a chance to express yourself ever again. That's what I detest and I've always fought against. Yeah.
Of Sahara reporters, how would you examine the press freedom in Nigeria, and considering the fact that the media space is being, will I say the civic space, the media is being shrinked? There are certain things you would air on your platform, and then you will be met with a lawsuit, and then you have to find your way out around it.
The problem with media freedoms starts and ends with the media first and foremost. The media is the only non-governmental, one of the most important non-governmentally recognized organizations in the world. In fact, it's been referred to as the fifth estate of the realm, or is it the fourth estate of the realm? But where you have a media that is compromised, or you have a media that is owned by the same people who the media are supposed to, you will then find out that any media company or organization or platform that is reporting what people in power don't like, they become very few and they become emasculated quickly. I know of People's Gazette, for instance, The owner had to practically run away from the country because I'm sure they have like up to 5 arrest warrants for him. His staff is constantly hounded. They make sure he can't even defend some of his cases because there were 5 cases and are not serving. They did that to me too. There was a senior advocate of Nigeria who filed a libel case against me. He knew where I was. I even greeted him in court one day, and it's never served me. And got a judgment from an FCT High Court judge who apparently has a problem with me because our villages are 15 minutes apart. So I think Sarah Brothers wrote something against his relative. And then when we go and ask, how did you serve us? Because service is very important in litigation, it's key. He said he served me on Twitter. I didn't know that you can serve somebody on Twitter, but I'm just saying that the job that's more important though is not to be forced into self-censorship, is to do what is right and then face whomever the adversary is in court, wherever they come. So what, for instance, was most important to me when I was starting Sarah Reporters is to preserve the platform. And I already anticipated there would be a lot of pushback. Like in the US, where it's very, very expensive to defend yourself even in civil lawsuits, I have been sued like several times, over 7 times, like different people, some of them linked with the Nigerian government. And so it comes with the territory of the work that you understand that you will constantly be at loggerheads with those in power. Because the job of a serious media company is to speak truth to power.
Okay, now let's move to politics. Yeah. You had some fire, will I say, heated arguments on and off line with some politicians in governments, one of which is Nyesom Wike. Yeah. And I think most recently he labeled you a blackmailer who thrives on blackmailing people just for publicity or for your own ego. What would be your response? And in light of
did Wike himself
yes,
say that?
I think I won't give him to blackmail. I'm doing my work in FCT. The president. We have the video.
My name again.
Well, he didn't mention your name, but we indirectly we know who he was talking about.
You know, I
because he said you were falsifying some of these things.
I focus on when he mentions my name. I don't do insinuation. I made it very clear to him when he mentioned my name and threatened me that that's a no-go area. So if he has not mentioned my name again, I take that he's not talking to me. So that's the way I handle people like him. If we are going to a point where he's respectable, or is respectful enough not to mention my name again, I just take it that he learned his lessons and moved on. The question is, have I moved on? Probably not yet.
Now, with the gale of defections, most of the governors are now in the ruling party, the APC. As an advocate for a just society and seeing that you have always accused the governors of sabotaging the growth and development of the nation, how would you relate this to what we have now that everybody is now moving to APC?
You see, my position has always been the major political parties are the same, just they have different nomenclatures. Or is it, what do you call it? Is it acronyms? Yes. But at the end, ideologically, they are the same. That's why I could never find a political party to join when there were 78 political parties. We ended up setting up our political party in 2018, the African Action Congress. So nothing surprises me with defection. The people who are defecting used to be in APC. When they were not in APC, they were in PDP. When they were not in PDP, they were in Labour Party. And now they've all moved to ADC. Some of them have moved to ADC, and some of them have also come back to APC. Now you see the back and forth because it's a revolving door. So nothing in all of the activities surprises me, but The reason for the defection is monthly allocation. You know, these guys are having a great time stealing, because there's more volume and what they get monthly. So this is their own response to this humongous amount of money that's going to their individual pockets. And for most people, you don't know. That is the reason why your naira has no value, because these guys are constantly just changing naira to dollar. So the question of demand and supply, because there's no production going on, just rent seeking.
Yeah. Nigeria has a new INEC chairman in person of Professor Joash Amukito.
Is it new?
Okay. And he has promised, and I think he has assured Nigerians, that the losers will congratulate the winners when he conducts an election. And seeing the trajectory, INEC leadership, and what we had in 2023 to what we have now, do you think he's ready for the job and he will deliver?
So, if you look at INEC, it's a body that's started with conducting elections. It has staff, it has appointees, and majority of the appointees are appointees of the president. Under the Tinubu regime in the last 2 years, he has been able to appoint most of the resident electoral commissioners. That means they are people he knows and are loyal to him. And he appointed plenty of national commissioners. The last person he's appointed is this new guy, according to you. But I'm sure he's not new.
Confirmed yesterday.
Yes, no, but you know, with a rubber stamp Senate, you can confirm a goat to anything. So, but he has also appointed 11 Supreme Court justices. These are the people who will take the decision. You know, I have said this somewhere else. I don't know if you can find this, that the way Tinubu is planning the next election, he'll make it look as if it's credible, because they have done the work in advance, and there's been reports about how they plan to do it, how they want to provide documentation to polling officers in advance, duplicated ones and all that. That is what they mean by saying the loser will congratulate the winner. Because they have done their homework, and you find it flawless if you are not discerning. But in one-party states that we have already, why is not surprised? But it's up to Nigerian people to confront them. I like the idea that they have their own people in one place, and then that's why I couldn't stand the idea of the way the opposition ADC was promoted when they started their abracadabra. You know, you just want to make it look as if they are credible opposition. These guys are not. You know, Malami, Amaechi, and they're not credible people. And they're not in the opposition. They're not opposed to anything. Maybe some of them are hungry and they need accommodation to find food, because Amaechi said that much. Like,
if you were president, how would you get a list of credible people to run your government?
There are a lot of credible Nigerians, both at home and abroad. We know them. We meet them every day. We hear from them. It's just that the system in place don't allow good people to bubble to the surface.